All right, guys, this is not a drill. It is a lesson, and it is going to be a lesson how to make these balls when the cue ball is center table, how to make these balls to either corner pocket down there. Some easy ways to take the guesswork out of the equations and how to just aim and make them very quick and very easy. Okay, take note that they are on the horizontal diamonds, and they're numbered as per diamond that they're on. The 1 is on the 1 diamond, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, which is the side pocket, 5, 5, 6, 6. So this is 6 diamonds away from this short rail, okay? And the cue ball will always be vertical center, okay? Not center center, but like this way, center, and we'll be making them to those corner pockets. Now, keep in mind that the center ball here, 4, is kind of the set point for many of these shots. Why is that? Because it is a perfect half ball, 30-degree, center to edge shot. If you don't know what that center to edge means, we'll get into it a little bit more in detail. So let's start, buckle up, and let's learn. All right, the 1 ball on the first time. This is probably the hardest shot out of all of these, so let's get it out of the way with quickly. Okay, so this I like to call an edge-to-edge shot. What does that mean? Okay, well, I'm going to draw a mental line when I'm aiming this. I'm going to use the inside edge of the cue ball to the outside edge of the 1 ball. Okay, you see that line right there? I'm going to draw a line from the edge to the edge. That is going to be my aiming base. And some people like to play this with some inside spin. Essentially, that just helps them to cut it a little finer because the inside spin gives a little deflection. I tend to like this with a little bit of outside spin. So I'm going to play about a tip of left spin. Okay, I'm going to give it about a 4 to 5 weight stroke. And let's just make this. Edge to edge, 1 tip outside. And there it is. All right, so that's the hardest, but it's fairly easy if you can use that baseline of edge to edge. You can practice that with some inside spin if you'd like. You can practice it with no spin. You can practice it with some outside spin. See what works better for you. And sometimes you need to, based on traffic on the table, you'll need to make it with different spins. Okay, let's get into the next one. All right, here we are, second diamond, center table. That means it's on the spot. Okay, so this is, when the cue ball is center table, this is a 45-degree cut angle. It could be a little bit more because you have to get clearance over here to make contact. So, but anyways, we'll call it 45 degrees. It's probably more like technically 48, but why is that a 45-degree angle through the center of the 2 ball? Well, the table is made up of 2 squares. If we cut the table off right down the center here, we have a square, we have a square. All right, in a square, you have 4 right angles, 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree. That's 360 degrees, by the way. And through the middle, from one corner to the other corner, I know this is a side pocket, but it's the corner of the square. When you cut a line through the middle, that is a 45-degree line. Okay, so I like to do this as a center to edge, so a half ball hit, but slightly modified. Okay, so recognize these angles. You don't have to be a mathematician. This is basic geometry, guys. All right, so if I'm going to cut this over here, I know that I need a little bit more than a half ball hit. I need to cut it a little bit finer. So on a 45-degree shot like this, I like to use the right side. I'm cutting it to my right. I like to use the right side of my shaft, excuse me, or my tip, and aim that for the edge of the 2 ball. Okay, so I'm actually hitting it a little bit thinner than if I just aimed the complete center of the cue ball for the edge of the two. All right, so I'll show you my view of this shot here in a second, but this is what that looks like, and you'll be able to make this all day long, guys. So the right edge of my cue now, I'm drawing a line from that to the edge of the two. And it goes in all day long, guys, okay? You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, usually you'll hit right in here with no English, okay? That's no English on that shot. But I can make that by just that simple little aim 98, 99% of the time, all right? Which otherwise you are left guessing. And the ghost ball, when you're getting, a little bit thinner on a ball, is sometimes hard to judge exactly how to hit it. But all I do is I draw a line from that right side. So that means the right side of my shaft or tip to the edge of the object ball. And all that means is that I'm just cutting it a little bit finer than if we did a half ball center to edge shot. All right, so check out this point of view. Okay, guys, no English applied here. All right, so the right side of my shaft to the left side of the two. All right, now we're on the 3 ball, okay? We're 3 diamonds away from the rail. This is getting close now to a centered edge half ball hit, okay? It would be perfect if it was back just a little bit more, but you know what? Aiming center to edge, you're probably still gonna make this shot, okay? Here's center to edge. Bang, all right? So you have a little bit of area in here where you can make balls by center to edge half ball hits, okay? Now, you don't have to overhit those. I only hit that at about a 4 weight, 3 to 4 weight, but yeah, center to edge. If you find that you're hitting that a little bit thick, then maybe just make a hair adjustment to cut it a little bit finer. But most of the time on those, centered edge will still work on the 3rd diamond. All right, guys. Number 3 and number 4 are center to edge half ball hits. Okay, this one might require just an extra millimeter of a cut, but it basically is a center to edge shot. All right, guys, easiest shot in the world. I know in a match, sometimes people get intimidated by this because they're guessing. This is a pure center to ball or center to edge half ball hit. Very easy. You don't even have to pay attention. All you got to do is just aim the center of the cue ball for the edge of the object ball, the 4. Hey, I can do it while I'm just sitting here talking all day long, okay? It's very easy, guys. It doesn't take any advanced aiming, no spin, anything like that. Just half ball hit, center to edge, and put it in. All right, guys, and here is the easiest. It's a pure center to edge shot all day long. All right, now we're on the 5 ball. Yes, it's 5 diamonds from that rail. Okay, so it's less than 30 degrees now. So what do we do here? We're going to do that little shaft thing again, okay? So I'm going to go center to edge, but this time I'm cutting it to my right, okay? But I'm going to use the opposite side of my shaft. I'm going to use the left side of my shaft, and I'm going to aim that line. Again, I'm not applying any English to these cue balls, okay? When I'm talking about that, I'm not talking about shifting my cue over. I'm talking an aiming line down the shaft to the edge of the object ball, okay? So I'm going to place center ball on the cue ball, aiming from this side to the edge. What is that going to do? That's going to make me hit it just a little bit thicker than if we just played a straight center to edge, okay? Because if I did play a straight center to edge, we would miss the shot, okay? All right, so we need to hit it a little bit thicker. So the left part of my tip and shaft is lined up right there, okay? It's lined up for the edge of the 5, okay? And all day long. I wasn't looking or thinking about anything else except for drawing a line from the left part of my shaft to the edge of the object ball. All right, guys. And here, number 5 and number 6 are very similar shots, okay? So I'm drawing a line from the left edge of my tip to the left edge of the 5 ball. And there it is, all day long. Essentially, this is the same shot, okay? I'm still going to use that left edge of my shaft, draw a line to the left edge of the object ball, and just going to let it release. Okay, let's see here, right about there. All right. Okay, guys, this is basically the same shot as the 5 ball. Okay, I'm making a note of drawing a line from the left edge of my tip to the left edge of the 6, and that's my line. Perfect. All day long. You have an area in here of about a foot or so where that method will still pot them every time, guys. All right? So make these shots. They do come up a lot. Yes, sometimes you can extrapolate a little bit if it's a little off or a little off this way. Now you have more of a cut. If it's on this, you just have to learn the angles, and you can apply this for many different shots. Once you learn how to associate the angle of the shot, you can make it with just simple little tiny aim hacks like that. If you recognize that it's a 30-degree shot, center to edge, guys, all day long. That's all you have to really aim. If your eyes are tired and you're not really seeing the shots, then just use the system, guys. Okay, it's fairly easy. You can put it into many different shots, like I say, and I am primarily talking about not applying English, which is left and right spin, because now when you do that, it changes everything. I am talking in this demonstration about playing vertical on the cue ball, okay? But you can make these, and if you're a beginner or a lower intermediate player, I know you struggle with some of these shots, okay? So making them is number one. Making shape after is very important too. It's a close number 2, all right? But you still have to make the shot in order to stay at the table, in order to give yourself a chance for the W. All right, guys, we'll see you at the next lesson. Thanks.